So thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center, where we respect all religions and spiritual traditions. Before we start our event today, I would like to call on Tony Torres to do the prayer. Are you available, Tony, for the prayer? Maybe he stepped away. So, hey, Mark. Good morning, Mark. Would you like to do the prayer, Mark? It'll calm you down. You're on mute, buddy.
How's that for timing?
It's beautiful.
Lord, we thank you for this continued operation called Earth and the humanity and all the life that lives within it. We thank you for those that contribute to the benefit of others on a daily, weekly, and ongoing basis, knowing that those efforts result in our own progress as well. Thank you for the mentors that lead this group and us individually. And we thank so much for our speaker, Vanessa, joining us today, and trust that you will guide her in delivering the messages that we will take with us going forward. And we humbly request permission to begin today's session, and so be it.
Mark. I want to ask real quick. Do you see the events right now?
Yes.
Okay. I went to the link that's been provided in the past. So I would assume that everything that I'm seeing is updated. But I'll continue with the announcement, and if there needs to be any changes on what you're seeing, anybody please speak up, because I've been busy with the wildfires and haven't been around. So I don't know if it's current or not, but I believe it is.
This is accurate.
So, the Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center is a member of the United States Spiritist Federation, where the beliefs are around scientific, philosophical, and religious principles of Spiritism. Emmanuel, the Spirit, taught that knowledge and love are the wings for our spiritual evolution. There are two parts to our event today. First, speaking, participation in the presentation is important. Your mentor is supporting with insights from the speaker, Vanessa Anseloni, today, and I'll introduce her shortly. Reflection and working along the week to sustain the energy you're receiving while in the center. So it doesn't stop here. It continues on wherever you are, whatever you're doing. The second part will be hands-on healing. Hopefully you can stay, because the first part, when the mentors are working with you, will help prepare you for the second part, the hands-on healing. So I'd like to turn to the announcements. Every day we have prayer at 6 p.m. It's a Pacific Standard Time. The link for this meeting today is a link for that prayer. On Mondays, which is internal to the mediums with Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center, we have a study session, and then we do mediumship work. On Tuesdays, through Divine Light, we have initiation into Spiritism currently being covered. On Wednesdays, If you need fraternal assistance, please put your name and phone number in the link, or if you have contact information for one of our members, please reach out and we'll get back to you about doing fraternal assistance on Wednesdays from 4 to 7 p.m. Also on Wednesdays, we have from 6:30 to 7:30, Heaven and Hell. Wonderful book, wonderful way to get to know what it is like for the spirits when they've been in body and then transition into the spirit world. Strongly recommend, if you can attend, try to get that book and read it. It's very enlightening. And then on Thursdays, we have the book Living Spring. And then every second Thursday of each month, we have an in-person study. If you're in Sacramento, right now it's at Regina's house, and she usually will put out an announcement prior to that. So reach out to her for more information. On Sundays, of course, today at this time, we have a presentation followed by hands-on healing. And then in the evening on Sunday, we have a study of Nasalar from 6:30 to 7:30. Hopefully you can attend one of those. I know it's a busy schedule. And if you can't, at least trying to connect in spirit to one or another is always good, because in the spirit world, everything is working and you're always connected to the spirit world through your mentors. So with that, I would like to introduce our wonderful speaker who is dedicated to Spiritism, Vanessa Anseloni. Her topic today is Hope Always, but I would like to read her bio. Vanessa is a psychology, I see PSYD. I don't know what that stands for, Vanessa.
Doctor.
Doctor of Psychology?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, with a PhD. She's a neuroscientist and psychologist. She is the founder of the School of Emotion. She worked for 18 years at the University of Maryland. A fifth-generation spiritist, Dr. Anseloni is the founder and former president, 1998 to 2012, of the Spiritist Society of Baltimore. She also founded and is the president of the Spiritist Society of Virginia, for 12 years, and the Spiritist Group of Washington, 3 years. Vanessa Anseloni is a Spiritist medium, fraternal counselor, and coordinates spiritual treatments and workshops in the U.S. and worldwide. Dr. Anseloni has been translating and coordinating a team of translators of Spiritist books, among them Brother of Other Lands and Good News. She is also the co-author of the book The New Generation with Divaldo Franco and editor-in-chief of the Spiritist magazine. Dr. Anseloni is the founder of Kardec Radio. Vanessa Anseloni launched Kardec Publisher and is the first psychographed books on July 4th, 2024, as well as Kardec's Lick. And I'm trying to get back to, okay, good. Where do I stop sharing? I think, have I stopped sharing?
You have not yet.
For some reason, I'm not seeing the link to stop on here. I think if you go ahead, Vanessa, and share your presentation, it will override my share. Oh, I see it. Okay, I stopped sharing. I have 3 screens in front of me, and it was on another one. So we welcome you, Vanessa, and welcome what you bring to us today. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Regina. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Tanya, Chris, Mark, Sunshine, and the friends that I know, the friends that I come to know and will know in the future. You can hear me well, right? All right.
Yes.
So just next time, I apologize to Chris. I probably didn't say an updated short bio. We've been here at the Spirit Side of Virginia for 17 years and the center in DC for 8 years. The Spirit Side of Baltimore was founded in 1998, so 26 years ago. And the projects go on, and I would recommend everyone to get a hold of our apps, the Cardiac Radio app, which is 24/7, the Spiritus Magazine app that allows us to get in touch with literature that not very soon are going to be translated into English, or new articles that are also being released there. We have 66 issues there. It's been many years doing this work, as well as the Spiritus Parenting app, which is an app that supports parents in all moments of their lives in their mission as parents. So talking about hope, hope always, this is almost the end of the month of September in the United States. We also have this awareness on suicide. So we're dedicating this special conversation to raising awareness about suicide prevention and the importance of hope always. If we ask, is hope the foundation of optimism? It fosters optimism, and optimism is key for mental health. So it's very important to start this presentation by asking ourselves, where am I in optimism? Think of a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being highly optimistic and 0 being highly pessimistic, and think of a number where you would place yourself today. It may change tomorrow. And we ask, why is this so important? Dr. Martin Seligman at Penn State University, a wonderful psychologist and scientist, the father of positive psychology. He has done extensive research proving to us that optimism is key for mental health at all age groups. He has books like Learned Optimism that teaches us about how to become optimistic if we are not there yet. But we want to make sure that we understand that there are levels of optimism. And optimism becomes center stage for mental health because it talks about how we're dealing with our reality in a positive angle, seeking the good always. If we talk about what science has been revealing to us and the numbers, there's so many numbers. There are the international associations for suicide prevention. We have the national ones. It's a little bit scary, especially during the pandemic and after the pandemic. We're seeing that people are not doing as well as they should. So I'm going to share the screen to share a few data with you. Okay, I hope you can see my screen, right? And I will change the slide just to verify if I'm doing it right. It changed for you too? Thank you. So we're taking this conversation to a multidimensional level because we are multidimensional beings. As we can see, if we go to the book And Life Goes On by André Luiz through the medium Chico Xavier, we're gonna see in the first chapters this conversation about us being multidimensional. We have a physical body, we have a spiritual body, and we are spirits. We don't have a spirit. We are the spirit. And the analogy in the book is very interesting. Think of a carriage and a horse and a horseman. The horseman is the spirit, the horse is the perispirit, and the carriage is the body. And so many of us approach illnesses and health from the carriage perspective, which is so limited, right? Because it can't go places without the horse, and the horse cannot go to a specific destination without the horseman. So in any way and means, we need to learn to see ourselves as spirits. Do we have that experience actually? Most often, even us as a spiritist, we don't. To feel as spirits, to feel it. An immortal being connected to the physical realm through a spiritual body that has multi-dimensional layers. We're talking about this because the knowledge here needs to really water our feelings so we can feel the scripture as Jesus recommended to the doctor of the law, Nicodemus, as reported on the book Good News by the spirit author Humberto de Campos. There we're going to see this immortal passage when he said, oh, I've studied all the scriptures and yet I haven't found happiness, the kingdom of God, this peace of mind. Why? And Jesus replied to Nicodemus, Nicodemus, you forgot to feel the scriptures. It's not enough to know them. So no matter how much we study, we need to focus on the feeling of our relationship with ourselves, with God, with one another. And that's why spiritist centers are so special, because when we are there, when we are in a spiritist center, we're learning to polish ourselves through our relationships. We can't escape it. It's easy to study, it's hard to practice, but the practice of constructing feelings is where we should focus. We're talking about hope as a major trademark of the Christ-conscious soul. We'll never forget the time in which Master Jesus, in a memorable moment with one of his most devoted disciples, Bartholomew. It's reported in chapter 8 of the book Good News. Bartholomew is the portrait of the downcast person, the person who is sad or depressed, melancholic, nostalgic, and is not functioning quite well. Jesus observes that Bartholomew is like that as much as he observes us to date. Some people think that Jesus is elsewhere and he's not paying attention at us because he's not physically here. And there are people still waiting for him to come back, not knowing that he's never left us. And at some point, Master Jesus approaches his beloved disciple, as he does probably every day to us, asking, "What's up, Bartholomew? What's happening to you?" Bartholomew starts the dialogue by saying, "Master, I know what you share with us is beautiful. It brings hope, but my life does not match it. How can I feel it in my life?" And Jesus then replies very kindly. He says, Bartholomew, have you heard of good news that does not bring hope, joy? The trademark of the followers of the good news is hope, joy, and courage. The dialogue goes on and on in a very therapeutic session, as if we see the psychotherapist Jesus in front of us, seated with his patient, Bartholomew, and any of us. And Bartholomew keeps opening up. He says, I understand that, but people don't get me. Life is so hard. My father is always blaming me for everything. He's rough. He's bullying me. My brothers are always looking down on me. My colleagues at work bullying me left to right. Plus, my mom, the only one who understood me, she's no longer here. She's no longer here at all. Is it a problem that I feel sad because I lost my mom? And Jesus replies, but who is lost in our Father's home? Nobody is lost, Bartholomew. Life goes on. And then Jesus keeps explaining that it doesn't matter what people feel about us. It matters what we feel about people. It's about the construction of feelings. So where are we in that regard? After that conversation, Bartholomew felt somewhat different and started living his life in a completely different way. We await for that moment in our lives when everything we come to know in Spiritism is going to change our lives profoundly. Because the purpose of a reincarnation is for profound transformation. Profound transformation. We're supposed to reincarnate one way and discarnate a different person. How can we foster that dramatic transformation? Well, let's see. In the world, we need to pay attention first to our emotions. What I'm saying is not only about material science and psychology, neuroscience, but in the science of the spirits. If we just take the book, The Gospel According to Spiritism, which this year is turning 160 years in its publishing, we're going to see the escalation from instincts to sensations and then emotions, feelings. In the explanation of the law of love, the spirits explained through Kardec's mediums, publishing the Gospel According to Spiritism, that our emotions need to go to another level, constructing feelings. First step, self-awareness. Second step, self-regulation. Third step, connection with others, empathy. In the scale of psychopathy to empathy, we need to little by little get to the observation that we exist as much as everybody else. And emotions, different from feelings, they are reactions to the environment. As Darwin said very wisely, emotions are adaptive to the environment, to the circumstances. So we can't be angry at feeling anger. We can't be sad for being sad. like we see in the movie Inside Out. Sadness is so sad that she can't stand herself. No. In us humans, we have mechanisms inside to raise above our emotions, manage them once we are aware of them. As we name them, we tame them. And as we tame them, we raise ourselves through the combination of feeling and reasoning into constructing feelings such as compassion, such as love, such as being able to reconcile and seek the good always. Hope is a construction. It is not an emotion. It is a feeling. It requires higher cortical processing in our nervous system. Animals don't feel hope, don't feel optimistic, but they are able to feel joy. Yes, that emotion, joy, they are able to feel as much as they feel anger, sadness, and other types of emotions. But for us humans, though our genetic differences are slimmer than 2%, we are able, in that less than 2% of genetic differences, we're able to elaborate emotions, to construct feelings. So we're using this word time and again, construct, because it's labor intensive. And as we're going to see in the series of the studies of evolution in two worlds, the book by the spirit doctor Andre Lewis, which you can follow in our new site, Cardiac Flicks, and at Cardiac Radio YouTube, the playlist Evolution in Two Worlds, the lessons of each chapter. And we're going to see that as Andre Lewis shows to us, from the moment we were created by God to date, we progress through effort and repetition. So the secret to progress is get out of the comfort zone. In the comfort zone, we do not progress. We cannot progress at all. Why? Because as Deepak Chopra said in The Law of Uncertainty in his books, it is in the unknown that I find the new that I have not learned yet, thus progress. In what I know, the comfort of the moment, I am stagnant. So I need to appreciate the uncertainty of times. I need to do so, and I can only do it by having a more ample vision of life. And that's where hope comes and plays a role. Today, we'll say that we need to understand people when they lose their hopes. They are hopeless. In that hopelessness, we will find that they want to run away from their suffering. We understand it, and we don't judge them at all. They don't know that life goes on, and even if they know, they don't understand it fully. And there is a big, wonderful book, Memoirs of a Suicide. Memoirs of a Suicide by Yvonne Pereira, the medium. The spirit Camilo and Leon Denis shares with us that there is hope always. Though statistics in the world tell us that in the countries where people have the hardest time dealing with their understanding about the continuity of life, their religiosity, suicide rates are higher. Asia especially has the highest suicide rates. 1 in every 40 seconds quit life. For us who are in the United States, we have websites. We have the Lifeline of National Suicide Prevention, 1-800-273-TALK, where people can find help 24/7, talking with people. All calls are confidential. And suicide nowadays is a major public health concern. It's among the leading causes of death in the United States. This is so surprising to us. The National Institute of Mental Health, right here, close to where I live, 30 minutes away, in Bethesda, Maryland, we're going to find that they are studying every day ways to understand our mental health, preventing suicide, and helping people who have suicidal ideation, who have already gone through their suicide attempts, but they cannot help those who have crossed over after suicide. But we spiritists, you and I, we can. Through prayers, through mediumistic works. Suicide is a leading cause of death in the United States. And we will say that not only hope is possible, but we'll say after the pandemic, we need to help especially those who are younger than us, preteens, teens, young adults, where suicide rates have escalated to levels like one person every 11 minutes. So this is between the years of the pandemic in the CDC, the Center of Disease Control in the government in the United States. We'll see their statistics between 2022, 36% increase of the suicide rate, affecting all age groups, especially the young adults. So let's bring the spiritist science, because science is amazing. I'm a scientist myself. I love science, but it's limited because the object of physical science is still within the limits of the physical body, though it's still a universe to be unveiled. We still know very little about the nervous system. But the spiritist science is ahead, and it can tell us much more. So question number 1, do we have the right to take our own life? Back to the Spirit's Book by Kardec, 1857, question and answer 944. Can we take our own lives? No, only God has the right. But Vanessa, I'm suffering so much. I know, who is not? Can you point to somebody? Jennifer Lopez is suffering, going through a divorce that we don't know if it's really a divorce or not. You think she's happy? No. You think because Jeff Bezos is one of the wealthiest men on earth, he doesn't go through sufferings, afflictions, problems? They have afflictions that we don't have. Who doesn't have any sort of affliction or suffering does not have any sort of pain. As a neuroscience scientist who studied pain for almost 2 decades, we can tell the pain in its 3 components: the cognitive, the emotional, the affective one, and the interrelational one. We all have some form of pain. Are we going to quit life because of that? No. So God is the only one that allows us to do so. So can we tell that quitting our lives, committing suicide is, and I forgive me for using this word, but just for technical terms in the spiritist science, is it a crime before God's laws? Yes. But nobody goes to jail in the spiritual realm because the jail is in our minds. God's not going to punish us. He gives us another opportunity. So if you know somebody who has already committed suicide in your life, in your family, in your circle of acquaintances, pray for that person, because the jail is in the mind. When we read in the book Memoirs of a Suicide that there is a valley of suicide, it's not a location, it's the mind. It's that frequency, that mental frequency that we are in, and the suffering is repeating itself time and again, sometimes for days, other times for decades, centuries, till we are rescued. And on earth, the good news is Mother Mary and her legion of beloved servants, they are dedicated day in, day out to rescuing those who commit suicide and bringing them to their rehabilitation in the spiritual realm. In her wonderful clinics and also universities, preparing ourselves for a brand new reincarnation, probably like this one. And they keep an eye on us, like the camera that I'm looking at right now, trying to visualize your faces. She's looking at us as well, double checking like a baby monitor on us to see what else she and her messengers can do so we succeed in this reincarnation. So, as you can see in this, sorry, I just pushed the wrong button. To die of despair, okay, let me just do it again. To die of despair is, okay, where am I? Is
So we
also
lost-
suicide.
Yeah. Okay.
Got it? Yeah?
Yes, we do not.
Thank you. So those people, like this mother we see in the Heaven and Hell book, you guys are going to be studying this book, phenomenal book, as Brian said. Phenomenal. The second part of the book is fantastic. It's almost like a Netflix of all these cases that Kardec brings to us, 66 cases precisely. Amongst them, 18 are of happy spirits, and the other ones are other categories like criminal minds who discarnated, suicides, and people like this mother. She saw that her beloved son was about to discarnate. She was so attached to him that she said, "Son, don't worry. I'll help you out. You cross over and I'll help you." Nobody understood what she meant. She went to her bedroom, killed herself, thinking that she was going to cross over and receive her son in her arms. To her disillusion, because actually, in her deception, she learned that now she's farther away from him than before. We're not God. But how many people, little by little, in their daily sadness, daily melancholy, daily nostalgia, they are losing their vitality. They are losing their vitality. It's in chapter 5 of the book, The Gospel According to Spiritism. When we learn that melancholy weakens our will and we drain our vital fluids. So to learn to be optimistic, is about health, physical, mental, spiritual as well. Maybe we don't think of suicide, but we're not optimistic. We're not hopeful. And we're just lingering in life instead of using our strong will to change the course of our lives and moving forward. And when I say that, what do we mean in the spiritist science? What is the healthiest direction of our lives when we dedicate our lives to others? It's not about having a 9-to-5 job, sometimes at home, at our home desks, and then going to the Spiritist Center once or twice a week. Do the math. Mentor Joseph said it to us years ago. You think you're doing much coming to Spiritist centers, online or physically? Okay, 1 week has 168 hours. If I go to a Spiritist center and I spend 2 hours there, let's say I drive 30 minutes to go to the center and then back to my home 30 minutes. Let's say I spend 3 hours. It's not even in the center, okay? But we're being generous here. Let's say I spend 3 hours doing this thing. 3 hours. It's only 0.017 of our hours. 1.7% of our week. And we think we're doing a lot. If we do it twice, those 3 hours twice a week, 3.4%. If we do it 3 times a week, which people think like, oh my gosh, it's a lot, less, like 10%, let's say 10 plus something percent. And we think we're doing a lot. Oh, but I'm still not happy. Why? Because we're not dedicating ourselves fully. Should I quit my job and do this? No. We need to leave the message in our daily lives as if we are in a spiritist center at work, in our family, everywhere. That's the profound transformation. When I see people that live a double life, they go to the center and then in their daily lives, they are on Tinder. That doesn't match. They go to the Spiritist Center or read these books, but they watch porn. Doesn't match. They cherish anger and hold grudges against family members, not speaking to family members. Doesn't match. In those incoherences, we cannot be happy. No wonder we are not feeling fully vitalized in our daily lives. Not talking about those people who daily think about making money, 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 and then they go to the Spiritist Center to say their prayer or to help somebody maybe. But then the rest of the week is all about the stocks and the money and the business and the promotion, the career. This is the reality of life. Well, those who have driven an unhappy person to suicide, who are they before God's laws? Will have to answer for it as for a murder. This is in the Spirit's book and in the Heaven and Hell. It's good to know about the laws of life, because once we know, we have an opportunity to comply. So there are people who are very easy to start relationships and break people's hearts, breaking commitments. Sometimes they see their spouse leaving them and they don't know what they've done wrong. They weren't the ones who quit it first. The spouse just left because they were already abandoned at home under the same roof. Children and teens. The other day at the Spiritual Society of Virginia, we had a wonderful teen, a 14-year-old boy who came with his father from another state. And then he said to us, you know, the reality is when you turn 13 and you become a teen, people don't care about you anymore. Adults are scared of us. They run away from us and we're left to ourselves. And I see that reality daily. It's so true. Adults, when they do that to teens, it's because they haven't given themselves an opportunity to cherish their teenage years. Now they are replicating the same treatment they received with their children, leading them to either direct or indirect suicide through sex addictions, drug addictions of all sorts, including the ones that became legal. By the way, opening a parenthesis here, those who think that because marijuana is legal, it's okay to smoke it and vape, etc. No, alcohol, marijuana, vaping, cocaine, they are all under the same category. They break your brain. You dumb down yourself. You lose cells. Oh, but I know people who are so smart and they do it. They could be even smarter if they didn't. And for us in the spiritist science, it is considered a form of suicide. In life, you and I will face challenges that may produce pain. Not necessarily though. Not necessarily though, because pain has a very subjective component. It's up to us to define something as painful or not. Oh, Vanessa, what if I burn my skin? Yeah, it may be painful. But if you have diabetes, you may not feel as much because of neuropathy. So it varies on our experience, on the level of evolution. Like we see the case of Claire Riviere, a case of expiation in the book, Heaven and Hell, which, by the way, you can listen to every case in 54 voices at Kardec Radio, in the book session at Kardec Flix or Kardec Radio YouTube. You'll find the whole series of videos reporting each case. The case of Claire Riviere, a girl who had a disease quite young, spent years in bed, and whenever she felt pain, she prayed, and she discloses later through Kardec's mediums. Whenever I prayed, the guardian angel came and gave me soothing ways to go through it. We have anesthetics in the spiritual realm. And as a scientist, we studied about the mechanism that we have in our brain. It's the descending pathway that can counter pain. It's an analgesic pathway that we have inside of us, producing the release of molecules that will counter painful experiences. In the spiritist science, we will learn with Mentor Druso, and it's reported in the book Action and Reaction by André Luiz Chico Xavier, that in life we're going to go through inevitably 3 types of pain. So here we go. One of them, the most common one, karmic pain. We call in Spiritism expiation pain. It goes from inside to outside. What does that mean? It's like the student that didn't apply him or herself at school, and now they have to repeat the year. That is an example of expiation pain, an analogy, because nobody will see what's happening, but inside it hurts. Because now you're with younger people, seeing the same things, no longer with your friends, because you repeated a year. And here's us repeating the year in this reincarnation. Hopefully this time we're going to make it right. Expiation is that inner pain of shame and guilt. We'll see the difference between that expiation pain and the pain of evolution. It's very different. So the second type is pain evolution, from outside in. It's like when I don't know something and it's painful to learn the new, right? Yes, so many people don't like math because they have no experience in learning math. That's pain evolution. So when you or your child or grandchild say, I don't like math, of course you don't. You have no experience in this. In previous lives, you didn't study it. In this life, it's brand new. But you and I will apply ourselves to love it. We're not going to put it aside. Come here. Nowadays, just talking about math, right? You go to YouTube, there are so many wonderful teachers sharing videos. I tell parents and grandparents, just sit down with your kid. Watch the video on YouTube, learn it, and help your child. When you have a child, it's the second opportunity we have in a reincarnation to learn what we haven't learned, including what they learn at school. Oh, but I've been at school. Yeah, but you didn't learn everything. And many of them are learning things we didn't learn at school because it wasn't discovered then. So now with them, we have a second opportunity. And if we have grandchildren, 3 opportunities in this life. If we are attentive, if we are side by side, mentoring them, we expect that others will mentor our children and grandchildren, but we're supposed to be their first mentor. That pain evolution of going to the gym and exercising muscles that are very weak. Pain evolution. We come home and it's painful, it's sore, but it's a good pain. We're working out muscles that have not been worked out. The same in our relationships. We're going through relationships that we have 0 experience in patience, in compassion, in forgiveness. But if we apply ourselves, we will construct those feelings that lead us to the solidification of virtues. Talking about virtues, a good book for families, The Family Virtues Guide by Linda Popov. She leads a beautiful series of virtues. I tell this to all families, whether they're spiritist, non-spiritist, religious or not. A family to function well needs to have an ethical moral code. And if you don't have a religion for that, we need at least some form of consensus, like Ben Franklin brought to us the 13 virtues. We teach here to our children. We even have the puppet here, Ben Franklin puppet, teaching them weekly about the virtues we need to acquire to become a healthy person. The third type of pain is assisting pain or aiding pain, which is brought to us to avoid greater problems, to prepare for the transition to the spiritual realm, and to reflect in life. In André Louis' books, we'll find countless cases, like the man who was thinking of commit a wrongdoing, his family and the experimenters induced him into a form of heart attack. So he would stop and reflect about life before incurring into that mistake. Not everybody has the merit to going through assisting pain. Many people who went through near-death experiences, they are going through those moments to take the benefit of this reincarnation and not waste time in another one. Many people, do you recognize that many people say, yeah, this part is too hard, I'll leave it to the next life. Maybe it's not going to be next life, it's going to be in 1,000 years. Look at this. Since we're Spiritism, Valdo Vieira, he was a physician, a dentist. He became a spiritist. He met Chico Xavier. Valdo Vieira was a wonderful medium. Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira became partners in the mediumistic works. They published books together, like Mechanisms of Mediumship, Evolution into Worlds, Laws of Love, many others. And at some point, Valdo Vieira says, you know what? I'm done with Spiritism and this simple, humble life of a Spiritist medium. I want fame. I want recognition. Yeah, he quit. In 2012, when I asked Dr. Marlene Nobri, who was close friends with them, both of them, I asked, so what is going to happen to him? He's discarnated now. She said that Emmanuel, the mentor of Chico Xavier, disclosed that it's going to take Evaldo Vieira 1,500 years, 1,500 years to be back where he left off. And you may be asking why? Because of the consequences of his action. All the people that depended on him to do what he needed to do, including us in the United States of America. He was supposed to be here guiding us because he knew English very well. He was younger than Chico Xavier, but he quit in 1966, in the city of New York, United States. That is exactly where he quit. His commitment to his unconscious. Now it's going to require him 1,500 years. The same for suicide spirits. What we're quitting today, we will have to revisit tomorrow. It's going to take us at least 200 years to come back to where we left off because of the consequences of our actions. Those who stay behind and were affected by our living this life in that way. Again, we recommend the book Memoirs of a Suicide, and we would like to finalize this conversation by reminding us that the only way to cherish this hope always, as Mother Mary shows us in her beautiful works in the spiritual realm, rehabilitating hopeless minds of suicides, is to cherish the feminine within. We cannot be hopeful if we don't surrender. Surrender is a feminine quality in all of us. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, we learn that when we face pain, afflictions, challenges, the antidote to suicide and to mental illnesses is calm and surrender. But we can't be calm and surrender if our inner feminine is not well. Like Jesus by the cross, his feminine was so perfect. in perfect balance with his masculine, his determination, his courage, but his total surrender as we see the radical acceptance we need to have for lives, for our lives. That's why Emmanuel, in the book Thought and Life, chapter 10, he says, the only way to be free from our past and to move forward is to seek the good, feel the good, visualize the good, and mold the good with all the resources we have at hand. Thus, we can tell that today, if we're willing to build hope in us, through this surrender, seeking the good always, we will always be better off. And as Joana de Angelis says in the very short, amazing book, Happy Life, sometimes in a moment of crisis, in the last minute, we will receive the help that we need. This summer, a friend of mine was going through a tough time because her child was not doing well in her social relationships at school. They needed to change schools. They didn't know where to go. Believe it or not, after searching for the best school for that child, on the last day of summer, they received a phone call from a particular school saying she's in. The last day. They spent the whole summer hoping and praying and surrendering, trusting in God that there will be an answer for our afflictions, a solution for our problems. Let's hope always, friends. Thank you so much for your time.
Wow, what a beautiful presentation. So much to think about, so much to apply in our life. Before sharing what I received from it, I want to open the floor because I get even more by listening to others. So the floor is open for whoever wants to share about how this presentation has affected you.
Well, Vanessa, you lit one of my candles. That's for daggone sure. OMG. I cannot tell you how embarrassed I am to admit it. Math. Oh my God. Don't think I ain't finna start studying something. Oh my Jesus. That lit me up. I am not kidding. Wow. And this is why it's always good to have guests come in, because they always bring in a different perspective on different things. Thank you for coming. I hope you come again. I hope we don't have to bite our nails and chew off our toenails just to get you over here.
Don't be shy.
Thank you. I wanted only to thank you for this nice presentation, and I hope that we can bring this hope and with the opposite thinking to all the people in the world. Thank you too much.
Hello, Vanessa. Good morning. I just noticed that I'm still adjusting to the transition from Colorado time to California time. So that's why I came in thinking that it's going to be 11 o'clock. But anyways, there's no excuse. I just want to highlight 2 points at the end because your presentation, it must be reviewed several times for those that are really focused on learn about the spiritism, learn about themselves. One thing that caught my attention is that when you brought up the issue of the feminine and masculine virtues, to me, for example, to be a man or to be a woman, not necessarily means that I have acquired those virtues. My time as an experience in being a man in this lifetime is for me to take the opportunity to develop the masculine side of me, however, nurturing the feminine side as well. Like Jesus was a perfect example of a duality in those terms. I mean, that's amazing. And also just a reminder that on the book that was put together, that's called History of a Dream, we have the experiences of Allan Kardec, of Chico Xavier and Bezerra de Menezes that in this life have fulfilled thousands of years of recovery from their mistakes in the past. So that's something that for us to keep in mind as well, that yes, we make mistakes, we're going to take years to recover, centuries perhaps, and sometimes thousands of years, because they were connected with atrocities back in those that phase of the Capella system that created a chaotic situation there. So they're still here. Well, that's what I want to highlight. I appreciate your presentation. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Hey, Vanessa, thanks so much again to come. And I know your time. I know you have your hands full all the time, but it's always very important, as you see. It's very important for all of us. Since pandemic, BSH in Sacramento have been struggling to come back together, and that was a very important message for the group that live around Sacramento, to see the importance to get together, because I think they need this push, like get out the comfort zone. No, Regina and some of they're doing a good job. They are feeding the homeless, helping the brothers, giving up the message through not just feeding materially. And it's important for our group to do what we are doing now, because everybody move away in different states. But it is essential to have your physical space, like you said during all your time on your speech, the importance to get together, the importance to know each other, to put in practice what we are studying, and help together, helping to that is charity. I remember when I moved to United States in 2008 that I was a permanent resident as I married Greg. And I was so sad because no spiritual center near, no non-spiritual center in Sacramento. So I was driving to San Rafael almost 2 hours, twice or 3 times a week. So 3 to 5 hours each way, depend the traffic, just to participate. I feel the need of putting my hands on service, no? And I studied, I participated in the mediumship education on Chico Xavier's Spiritual Center there, and on the charity work. So I think for 2 years I did that. So until we have a dream, the mentors came with Claudia Aiken. She passed, but we say, well, Claudia have a group in Sacramento. We start to go together, and then so on. Since 2010, we start the importance of have the physical service over there. So it is important. No, doesn't matter. One other example. I stood by myself for 3 months, only open Greg rent a place, and I went every 2 days a week. 2 days a week. I just read the gospel according to Spiritism. myself and the spirit, you know. And then didn't work. Greg said, you know, I cannot pay anymore. Then we have a complex apartment. We rent, one was empty, one bedroom. And we used for 3 months, another 3 months using that. Greg rent the place, need the money because, you know, 2008, the economy, how it went. Someone, a hairstylist, lend a place, a studio, yoga center in Carmichael. And we could start by only, she said, if you get 50-cent donation, that's what I went for your rent. So that's where we always start. I start by myself doing meditation, prayer, until the group start growing and come out this group. Brian, we remember that. Regina, Sunshine, I'll remember that time, Dave. So it is important. I'm sorry taking so long, but it's the importance of we need to push Sacramento, please, please, people, please, we need you guys there. Moving on, rent a place that don't take off the house. I appreciate Regina, Sonia, but we need to get out the house. Don't you agree, Vanessa?
Okay, I support you. And I will say this, when you guys gather together again physically and start it, I'll come free of charge in person.
Oh,
I will come to celebrate the
woohoo.
physical togetherness.
Yeah,
It's
thank you.
priceless. I agree with you, Tanya. And I will say this, imagine if Jesus had stayed online with us. Huh? It wouldn't be the same. He had to come in person. There is something physiological about this. Our center never stopped, no matter the pandemic. The center's full, people more than ever are in need. And I tell you, not only in the center, but if the center also teams up, and the center as a group also reaches out to the homeless, the shelters. You know what we're doing lately, just as an idea, because we discovered that the shelters, they need snacks for people. People love peanut butter jelly sandwiches. It's their major snack at the shelters. So who is going to make it for them? The people who work at the shelters, they don't have time. So what we do is we finish our center public meetings, and then we gather together to make peanut butter sandwiches. We make 100, 200, and then we deliver every weekend to them. Because in that effort, we grow stronger together by making sandwiches side by side. We need to learn to deal with one another. And then we can be in a mediumistic meeting. But if we can't make peanut butter jelly sandwiches together, how can we be in a mediumistic meeting together? Right? It's all about fluidic affinity. So the other thing is, recently we discovered helping schools. I know we are in a wealthy country, but there are Title I schools everywhere. And you'll be surprised to know that there are kids there who do not have enough at home to eat. Yes, they don't have, you know, the water bottles that we buy, fancy ones. They don't have it to take to the school and drink their waters. So some schools are asking for water bottle donations, not the plastic ones that you throw away, dispose, the ones that you keep, so the kids can bring next day and drink water during school hours. Things that are so easy for us, but in those schools they don't have. Even materials, supplies. The schools told us recently, through our friend Daisy, that weekly they have new students coming in because of immigrants, refugees, etc. They don't have supplies, so we can donate supplies. So the Spiritist Center has this function in our society, as Chico Xavier used to do. I will finalize my comment sharing with you. The mentor Joseph one day said, the secret to Chico Xavier, besides his humility, is that he did root Spiritism. he enrooted himself in our society. He helped everyone in his city, everyone in the state, everyone in Brazil and beyond Brazil. That's the secret to success. This one-on-one relationship with people. And it starts with us being together, smelling each other's beautiful perfume, because we have
Hugging each other.
right?
It's a healing hug.
Hugging.
No?
Yes, I support you. Okay.
Gina, you are there. You are, please put in Brian, Tony, Mosen, Dave, all these people, to Valerie, to push them, rent a place for hours, doesn't matter, but start doing, going there for reading the gospel, go once a week. And then from that, we'll be start bigger. I promise. Thank you, Vanessa.
Is there anyone else who wishes to share? All righty. Vanessa, you started off where you asked, where are you in optimism? I think you made me really start thinking. Well, today, I'm somewhere between an 8 and a 10. I feel like I'm on top of the world. I feel light, no matter how hard or how easy things are. My faith is everything is happening the way it's supposed to happen. I just let it happen. I do what I can do, say the serenity prayer, focus on the wisdom and how to handle the situation. Now, I can say that there can be times still ahead, and there have been times in the past where, yes, I have been in jail in my mind and causing the pain to intensify. And what I have found through Spiritism and rooting myself, and I like that word that you used when you just spoke, rooting myself in Spiritism, rooting myself in the education, rooting myself in the fraternity of everyone who is trying to do the same thing. I begin to understand how I can escape that jail, walk out of that jail. But it's a dance, because we, in this material world, there's things that will occur that, and that we have to do to live in it. But if we can let go and allow ourselves to be the actor in the play, but as well as one of the members in the audience, things seem to be a little easier. And what I have found now today, no matter where I am, if I can't be a part of the center because work can pull me away, or a personal thing in life that pulls me away, the serenity prayer takes me back to remembering what I can change and what I can't. And I can figure out what the difference is. And based on the wisdom that I've gained through my experience in this life, but the more I allow myself to be free and have faith and have hope, there's another wisdom that seems to come in where I don't know where it comes from, but I would like to think it's wisdom that I gained in previous lives, that I've cut myself off when I was in the jail in my mind. But by walking out of that jail, walking that narrow path with Jesus, asking Jesus and God, when I say that serenity prayer, what is the wisdom? What is the wisdom here? What would you do? What would you like me to do? And then thinking about, well, I did it this way before, and where did it take me? It crushed me, or it made me happy in life. And I like to think that I have this strong appendages think of it as the roots digging into the ground where I'm not in sand, I'm on concrete. It's very stable now that I can touch that wisdom, think about that wisdom, and then make the right choice. I'll give you an example. Years back, I would go on social media and I would read posts about politics. And now it's a great time because we're about to vote on a presidential election and things are going crazy on Facebook. People are posting one side or the other, depending on where you are. And that's okay that they are on that one side or the other. It's not for me to judge. It's like, and I don't fall into the trap to be a part of that conversation, that anger, that hatred, or that desire that I'm reading about, that you have to think like I think. I just allow them to think like they think and I move on my way. But years passed. I didn't consider that surrender prayer. I didn't consider the wisdom. I would just jump into it. And by jumping into it, I would almost feel like I'm drowning because I'm getting caught up in the anger and the frustration that's being relayed through those messages of you have to think like I think. Today, I look at it and I just move on. Took a lot of lessons to do that, but Spiritism, reading the gospel, reading the Spirit's book, reading Heaven and Hell, the Mediumship's book, participating in the education that the center has provided us to become together, to read together, to talk together about this and apply it in our lives of what we're learning. That has freed me from this jail, and it is a beautiful thing. I look forward to listening to your presentation again since we recorded it, because it's like a movie or a song that you listen to. That you listen to the song or you watch the movie the first time, and then the second time, if you have freed yourself from this jail, you tend to have a wider view and your ears are open even more, and you see and hear something that you didn't notice before. Thank you so much for this presentation. And with that, I would like for us to take a break for about 5 minutes. And during this break, please take a bathroom break if you need, grab your water, grab a picture of a loved one. Think of the loved ones who are on your mind, who actually could benefit from the healing as well. And yourself too, think about what you need. And when we come back, we'll listen to